Video coverage of IT Expo is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.
On the program with me today from ABP Technologies are Kurt and Jim. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here.
Thank you, sir.
This certainly isn't the first time that I've talked to folks from ABP about surveillance and about cameras, but it is something that I think is on the rise in terms of interest and adoption in the market. It's certainly something that you guys have been, as an organization, been promoting very, very heavily over the last 5, 6, maybe even years, maybe even longer. What's so interesting about surveillance equipment and the cameras, that makes it so exciting for you guys?
Well, we have several camera manufacturers that we represent, but at the show this year, we have brought Mobotics along with us, and they are very unique, and that their product is completely decentralized. What does that mean? Traditionally, you have a camera that's pretty dumb. It sends all its data to this box, NVR or DVR, whatever, and that box decides what it's going to do with the video. Do I need to send an email or alert someone, record it, whatever? Well, in Mobotics' case, they're a computer in and of themselves. So the camera has the processing power to decide what to do with the video. Okay, on my camera, I see motion at 1 a.m. in the morning. I know I need to record it and make a phone call because they are SIP enabled. I need to also email somebody, etc. So the cameras make the decision. What this does is a lot of things. It allows it to be much more flexible. If, let's say, a vandal comes up and takes down one of the cameras, then all the other cameras are still functioning fine. Let's compare that to a vandal coming in and removing the DVR, NVR, or a loss of power, etc. All the Mobotics cameras are still going fine. So very, very unique product.
So let me ask, to your last point, when you compare it to a vandal coming in and ripping out the DVR, the VDR, where's the footage from these cameras stored then?
It can be stored at the camera to a micro SD card.
Okay.
Or any network share. What that means is a file server, a SAN, a NAS, etc. Any network share.
Understood. And is there a difference in market demand for the decentralized cameras as opposed to traditional surveillance?
Absolutely. It takes a lot of education for people to understand the decentralized, because if you look at camera costs, Mobotics may seem expensive, but they're really not, because if you look at solution costs, what does it cost me to protect my business? They're much cheaper a lot of the time, because I don't have to buy an NVR. If you compare it to analog, I don't have to buy expensive coax cable. I can have distributed IP, so I'm not limited on my cable run. They're high resolution, so I can use less cameras to cover more area.
Less power consumption.
Yeah, and yes, very good point, Kurt, thank you. Month after month after month, you save money because they only use 3 watts of power operating, which is the lowest in the industry.
Are they infrared? How do they handle darkness?
Well, they're good to about 0.01 lux at a slow exposure rate, I guess you would say. But they work excellent with infrared. So they don't have infrared built into them, but they work very well with infrared. If you have complete darkness, then you can add infrared and be good.
How do you manage, Kurt? How do you manage the introduction and integration of the newer camera lines into your reseller markets?
Well, it's interesting. The reseller market that we knew 4 years ago has totally changed. ABP as a company would sell to telephony VARs, sell to security integrators, smaller security VARs, and basically with the convergence of technology, those are all becoming one and the same. So it's been interesting because the adoption rate of IP surveillance or security is really growing because people aren't afraid of it anymore. You know, it's your historic data guys who are now doing telephony and who are now doing surveillance. It's really kind of been a simple change for them. One of the things that we introduced last year was a full IP infrastructure line, switches, routers, because again, our customer was involved in all three of those spaces. This year, we're launching IP access control, which rolls up through our surveillance line, but we have some products here, as well as Mobotics. Isonis is one that Jim's brought along for this show that we're really excited about.
So let me ask, there's a growing number of IP cameras out there, some higher quality, some lower quality. How do you make the case for the Mobotics line versus some of the others? I think you talked about the decentralized technology. Some of those features are certainly available with other product lines out there as well. What else differentiates Mobotics?
Well, the key you said in the question was some of those features are available in other camera lines. Yes, other camera manufacturers have moved certain features to the edge, in other words, into the camera, but nobody has moved everything into the camera. Mobotics is still today the only one that's done that. I don't know why the other manufacturers are so slow to catch up, but they haven't caught up yet. Other differentiating factors are there are no moving parts. Mobotics never uses any moving parts. That does a lot of things for you. It gives you a high operating temperature range, -20 to +140. That's out of the box, bolted to the wall. You don't need housing, heater, blower, nothing. Just the camera itself. Low power consumption, which I mentioned earlier, 3 watts. That saves you money month after month after month. Since there's no moving parts, there's nothing to fail. They last forever. The very first Mobotics camera was installed in the Alps. That was in 2001. It's still running today.
I hope that's not on its own on top of the mountain peak. It's tough to get connectivity up there.
Well, it's wireless, obviously, but yes.
In all fairness, that's fantastic. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time to join us here on the program today. I'm Eric Lanasker at ITEXPO. Thank you.
Video coverage of ITEXPO is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.